Sometimes it's nice to just get off the beaten path and go for what we call a nature walk. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. We are enjoying our time in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and I wanted to share a small gem with you guys, something that you maybe didn't think about. Everybody does the common stuff. Go to the bars, go to the nightclubs, go to the restaurants. There's plenty of food to eat, there's plenty of drinks to drink. But when you're looking for a little bit of an adventure, why not consider what we call a nature walk? Now, why do I call it a nature walk? Because hiking sounds pretty serious, and we're not that serious about hiking and stuff, but we really do enjoy getting out in nature and just exploring kind of the stuff off the beaten path. And today I want to share one experience that we had on our nature walk. So we started at the Crystal Grand Hotel and we took an Uber to Boca. From Boca, it's a small little town, but that's really where the end of the road is for everything along the ocean. From there, the road cuts off into the mountains. But if you want to stay on the ocean, you have to take a water taxi. Now, water taxi in our case was 40 American dollars for 4 people to go from Boca to Las Animas beach. Now, if you're looking on apps like AllTrails, which is the app that we use to explore any kind of hike or nature walk that we might want to consider, there is a trail that will walk from Boca to Las Animas. It is a beautiful walk to do along the water. But many of the reviewers say do not do this during high tide because you will have to wade through parts of the ocean in order to complete that trek. We didn't want to take that risk, so we looked at a different trail. It starts at Las Animas and goes to Playa Las. Now I know I'm saying that wrong, so do not shoot me. You can take a water taxi all the way to Quemixto, but we wanted to do a bit of an ocean/jungle walk before we went to a waterfall. And that was where ultimately we went to, which is Cascada Cuale, which again, I'm sure I'm saying it totally wrong, but this is broken up into essentially 2 hikes. So the first hike, starting at Las Animas, is beautiful. A walk along the beach, which is easily marked. It is marked along the route the entire way, but it will take you up along into parts of the jungle with a beautiful ocean outlook where you can see the waves crashing up. There's a blowhole along the way where the waves come flying up through this blowhole, creating this beautiful mist. One thing to be aware of while you're on this hike is sometimes the trail is not perfectly marked. So there's sometimes where the trail is marked beautifully with a green and white stripe on rocks, on trees, on signposts. There's going to be other times where the trail forks and it might not be totally obvious which way you're supposed to go. One clue that I found that made it really easy is if there is a gate that would normally be closed or that is closed, that's not the trail that you should be taking. And soon after any forks in the road where you might have taken a wrong turn, you're going to find one of those trail markers to reaffirm that you are in fact on the right trail. Now, it's not a particularly hard walk. It does have some elevation change and there are some narrow parts where it is rather steep down into the ocean. So you certainly want to be mindful of your footings, but most able-bodied individuals should easily be able to do this part of the walk. After some time, you're going to come into a number of what we called Airbnbs. I don't know if they're actually Airbnbs, but there are a lot of just kind of makeshift huts and houses and resorts. There's a beautiful yoga retreat that you end up walking right through the middle of, and you get to see some really cool attempts at some luxurious nature retreats and that sort of thing. You're going to keep walking right through those, and eventually you end up on the beach, but then you end up into town. Now, you'll come up to a T intersection. You want to go left at this T intersection and then follow the trail up that way. This is where the hike for the waterfall begins. Now, up until this point, the shoes that I was wearing was the Nike all-terrain shoes that you saw me unveil in a different video when we were in Hawaii. And those shoes were perfectly suitable for this trip. There were some of us on this nature walk who were doing it in flip-flops and some of us who was doing it in slides. I found that wearing the shoes was actually the best for me, but there's no water to go through. So you don't have to worry about getting your feet wet, and you can decide what's best for you based on that. There are some rocks, there are some slippery bits, and you want to make sure you have the right footwear. The next leg of the journey is truly magnificent in that there are two bridges that you're going to cross that are suspension bridges. They're a little bit sketchy, they swing, and the wood on the bottom is a little bit scary, but they are safe at the time of this filming. Now, if you want to, you can walk through the river as well. It depends on how rainy it's been recently because the water level will fluctuate depending on how much water is coming through the mountains. At our time, we had a huge rainstorm 2 days earlier, and the water level was manageable to where I was able to walk right through on my way back. But on the way there, we took those suspension bridges because that was part of the experience that I wanted. After you get over the two suspension bridges, you will be met with some water that you do have to cross. One way or another, you've got to get across. I personally, at this point, switched to water shoes. So I have some reef shoes or some water shoes or whatever you want to call them that I wore for the remainder of this hike, and they worked just fine. Some of us continued wearing flip-flops. They walked across the streams in bare feet and then just put their flip-flops on. There are some complaints on the All Trails app that this trail has a lot of horse crap and that it is paved the whole way. My experience was not like that. There were sections that were paved. There were sections that were sandy, sections that were muddy. There certainly was some horse crap, but it wasn't like an obscene amount. You were certainly able to dodge the horse crap, but it is a trail that is traveled by horse and it is traveled by ATV and by humans. The one surprising part was there was a few parts where there was quite steep of an incline. So steep, in fact, that our pace actually slowed down a fair amount and we were able to get to the top just fine, and it was paved for that section. There were plenty of more older, more senior type individuals who were on this same hike and they made it up just fine. So it is certainly suitable for most people of all ages, as long as you're fit enough to go up and down a couple flights of stairs. You should be good to do this. Now, after a short jaunt up some concrete across a couple rivers, you are met with the waterfall. Now, the waterfall itself, I would have to say, I love waterfall hikes. I like to get the reward of a waterfall at the end. And this one, it was somewhat commercialized in that a couple of locals set up a shop up there, a souvenir stand where they're trying to just bother you with souvenirs to purchase. Another guy built somewhat of a bar of some sort where he's selling drinks and stuff. And they've actually built it out right onto the waterfall. So there's a beautiful patio, and you certainly can sit on the patio if they want to sell you a drink to sit on the patio by the waterfall. For us, we just stopped, took a quick picture of the waterfall and turned around and left. So it's a little unfortunate because I like to stay and enjoy kind of the end objective a little bit longer, but we really didn't feel comfortable there. So we turned around and headed back. Now, once we got back to town, we were able to hail a water taxi from there to Los Muertos, which is down at like the regular sea walk strip that is more popular. Now, the reason I did that is because I did not want to take the windy trail through the mountain back because I got a little bit car sick, and I'm much better on the ocean than I am on windy mountain trails. On our water taxi ride back, we saw a couple dolphins, and we were on the lookout for some whales because they said that there was high whale activity in the area recently. I don't know if they were just telling us that to kind of get our hopes up, but it certainly was an interesting ride. It took us about 35-40 minutes by boat, which is a little slower than what a car would take, but it was a really cool experience. Once we're in Los Muertos, we got another Uber back to the resort. Overall, it was not a cheap day for sure. We spent a couple $100s in sea taxis and regular Ubers to get there and back. Now, there were 4 of us and we split that cost between the 4 of us, so it was about $50 a person, and it was an experience that you wouldn't normally get if you stayed close to the strip or close to the restaurant district and all of that stuff. So definitely something worth considering if you find yourself out here in Puerto Vallarta. And now's the part where I ask you guys, have any of you done this hike before? What did you think about it? Was there anything that I missed in showing you guys the journey that we took? We really enjoyed it, and I want to hear from you. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.